what we really need is a good strength base to begin with. This lays the foundation of everything that you go on to do. So we're not talking about necessarily lifting powerlifter type numbers or looking at being the world's strongest man. But what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to develop skill and coordination in the big compound movements. This includes squatting, hip hinging, upper body pushing, upper body pulling, and perhaps things like carries. So with these kind of movements, if we can develop a big strength base and we can move to a position where we're lifting relatively heavy weights based on our experience and our body weight perhaps, then that gives you a really good opportunity to become athletic. So what that does is that increases the amount of maximal contractile force that you can produce. Then we can start looking at developing power and speed. Not to say that you train these components separately, but really the foundation of strength wants to be your priority. Once that's developed, start to do more work on your power, which is moving submaximal loads at high forces, at high speeds. So this is where we're perhaps doing weighted jumps, we're doing explosive movements with Olympic lifts potentially, or medicine balls and things like that. We also want to develop speed. So if you look at some of the most athletic people on the planet, it tends to be sprinters. So it's always a good idea to add some form of sprinting or explosiveness in your training. So start off with ballistic training and move into plyometric training and sprinting. And then you've got most bases covered in terms of your kind of, weight-based work and resistance-based work. So becoming strong, becoming explosive, and being able to sprint. Once you do these, you're in a good position. Don't forget, obviously, your accessory work as well with your weights, which will basically help the supportive tissue complement the big explosive movements. From a conditioning point of view, what we want to be doing is getting a good mix of aerobic work and more explosive anaerobic or alactate work. So with this, with your aerobic base, it's almost similar to your strength base when we're talking about weights. With aerobic work, we're looking at working submaximally, but for longer periods of time, and therefore using the aerobic system and developing that. This gives us a better endurance base and enables us to recover better day to day. It makes us fitter, gives us a better resting heart rate and ability to work for longer periods of time. What we want to do as well is work a little bit, not too much, but we want to work a little bit in the harder kind of conditioning bases as well. So things like working the lactate system, anaerobic or alactate, which basically means as we come down the continuum, working at for lower periods of time, but at higher intensities. Just be aware that when you're working at these kind of intensities, that the recovery takes a lot longer and it takes a lot more out of you.